The next morning I came into office, so I was there alone. I decided I want to quit.
What happened in 2016 then?
There was this guy who used to work with me, where he's today now the CEO of Delhi, and I had named him as my successor. And somewhere, I think in his mind, he felt I was ignoring him. Which was not true, because today I think I want to say it on camera, which I've never said before. When I spoke to Mr. Mama, he said, okay, you go. The Delhi office opens the day you go there. A small office it was. So I had no clients, nothing. So I had to start from scratch. So the Indian head of the practice, he told me that if you're not able to survive, close the office and come back to Mumbai. It was very difficult. That hit me. From that time, I took on the challenge that I can do it. I would just tell the youngster, go live your dream. Life is tough. It's going to throw a lot of bricks at you. So if you say a wish is, okay, there should be no downsides. It shouldn't be upside. But then what's the fun of it?
So today we have someone really special. He's an absolute pioneer in our profession, which is the chartered accountancy profession. Richard Rekhy, thank you so much for being here. It's an absolute pleasure, I would say. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Suraj, for inviting me. It's also a pleasure to be here, meeting you after some time. And I really admire your energy that you have and your growth passion that you have, which is...
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, to start with, Richard, you've been at the global stage. You've been the CEO of KPMG. You've been, in so many boards. Just rolling back a bit, how did it all happen? Where the CA journey, how did that start? It's something which you always wanted to be. ऐसे ही हो गया. मतलब, how did that start?
Actually, I didn't know what the profession was. I remember I was in school, in the school where I studied, La Martiniere for boys, Calcutta. And I was sitting one day, one of the weekends, on the bench out there. And the principal passed by and he said, okay, in 1 year you'll be finishing school. So what are your plans? And I said, I want to join the Merchant Navy. Saying, why? I said, I want to travel the world and see what the world is. So then he said, have you thought of chartered accountancy? So I said, no, I've never thought what chartered accountancy about it. And so that was the first time a seed was sown in my head, because my family were all either government servants, government bureaucrats, or from my mother's side, and from my father's side, they were all engineers. Nobody's ever done accounting. Nobody's done accounting. So I didn't even have an eco support system to go to ask what should I do, how should I study, I didn't know anything about it. So after a while at college, I understood a little bit about it. And then I said, let me go and try this. But it's by accident. It is not something that was
in those days, I think so. It wasn't so popular. Like in today's time, everyone knows CA. Maybe in those times, but not so common.
But no, it was popular in the sense that there was not too many professions. Become a doctor, engineer, chartered accountant, or lawyer. And so I chose this, not knowing where my career is going to be. But honestly, when I started this journey, and I discussed with my father, and he said, yeah, go ahead and do what you want. But he said, you should join the corporate world, because you get a lot of perks, you get a house, you get car, you get everything else once you reach a level, and you can have a good life. And because he was giving his own personal example, and so I joined it with the intention, okay, I'll become a chartered accountant, and then I will go and join the corporate world. So that's how it all started. Yeah.
Your first major role was setting up the office of Ratan S. Mama at that time. And you've described it like as a startup journey, but I was just, when I was thinking, I was writing, I was like, that time a startup versus today a startup, there would be a huge difference of how we mentally treat startups today versus how startups are that. So maybe tell us about how that journey started, because at that time, obviously,
I was in the Mumbai office of Ratan S. Mama and Company, and I was very, very close to over a period of time, got very close to the founder, Mr. Mama himself. And he, without me knowing it or him knowing it, he became my mentor. And I followed him. I used to observe him to see how he did, how he went for client meetings. And I learned a lot from him. Actually, honestly, I have never come across a professional of his caliber in any of the big four that I worked with. With all the firms I worked post, the caliber, the quality, the individual, the what he professed and what we learned from him. At least I learned everything from him. And even while he was there, there was no way I could go and tell him I want to leave the firm. Just to share with you, twice Arthur Andersen came to me to join them. And both the times, it's not, the offer was fantastic, but I didn't have the heart to go and tell him I want to leave because the bonding was so strong.
I'm sure, yeah.
And the bonding, it becomes like a family.
Family.
And I used to remember his words. He said, in a family, if somebody ever leaves, there's no place for him back. He never took anybody back.
Oh,
He
so
never
once
took.
someone leaves, it's like shut
Yeah,
doors.
I mean, you'll not come back as a partner. You can come back, but not.
Not as a partner. Oh,
But
nice.
he gave me a great opportunity, and I'll always be grateful to him. What happened was my father used to work in Mumbai. We had a house and everything, and then he had to move to Delhi because his company had closed down. And so I was also moving to Delhi. So when I spoke to Mr. Mama, he said, "Okay, you go. The Delhi office opens the day you go there. There's no office, but it opens." So I had no clients, nothing. So I had to start from scratch. So the one
And which
thing.
year is this?
Okay, I think this was 1989. And so we set up this, we got a place on rent, which was in South Extension Part 2 next to Habib's haircutting saloon. And small office it was. And we started there. So that office was set up by the firm. And after that, Mr. Mama used to do India, Middle East. We had also practiced in the Middle
Even
East.
in those days?
Yes, he moved with his clients who moved to
Wow.
Middle East. He moved there.
That's a time where maybe
There was
much
no
there-
firms, not much Indian firms. So he set up and he set 4 offices. He used to earn more money out of the Middle East than out of the Indian firm.
Even in those times?
Yes.
Wow.
So, and that was all tax free also, as you know. And so he spent a lot of time in the Middle East and very less time in India. Obviously, the money is where the money is. So the Indian head of the practice, he told me that if you cannot, if you're not able to survive, close the office and come back to Mumbai. So that hit me like nothing else. So I had to prove something to myself and to him that I can do it. And from that time, I took on the challenge of building this practice, hiring the people, going after clients, going and meeting them. It was very difficult because Ratan S. Mama was not a brand which was known. In fact, I'll tell you one client, multinational company said, पहला अपना नाम चेंज करो ये मामा चाचा क्या है you come and so once you change your name then you come back to me, we will talk if we want to take you. So you've gone through those insults, stood in the ROC line to file companies and corporation. I mean, did all what you could do. I used to have one office boy myself, and then slowly people started coming in. Fortunately, one of the firms in Delhi, there was some issue in that firm. So all the articles left, and all from very good families, very smart, the upper crust of the Delhi crowd. They came and joined me. They heard about there's this new firm, and they seem to be good. So why didn't you join? So they all came. So I got my first lot of articles, and 1 or 2 chartered accountants also came, and so then it started building. Then I used to personally go and win the work. And then my first big break actually came when I won the HDFC audit, internal audit.
That time?
Yeah. Wow. Then Kelvinator, internal audit. So all these few things started coming. And I remember, I'll not name the big 4, but there was a very big client called Whirlpool. And I met the CFO, and that firm was being serviced by that big 4 for all the advisory work. So I said, can you, I tried to pitch for the work. So he was hesitant, the CFO. He said, okay, I'll give you a pilot. Let's see how you do it. So I did it. Then he appointed us. So the head of the big 4 went to him and said, how come you're giving it to this small firm? Same rates, no discount. Same rates. So why he's saying the quality is better than you? So the one thing that we learned at RSM was quality. That you give quality work, people will pay for it. People will pay for it. And then your brand doesn't matter.
And it still stands today as well. I mean, quality over everything.
Yes.
But then you moved to Arthur Andersen. And
so then after Mr. Mama died in 97, and that's the time I felt the soul of the firm is gone. And I joined Arthur Andersen.
Culture shock?
In the beginning, yes, because uh, the one thing I'll tell you, it was not such a culture shock.
Oh, it wasn't.
No,
Because,
no, no, no.
we've
One
heard
minute.
so much about Arthur
So
Andersen.
I'll tell you. So even I was very scared when I was going there. I've never seen an office so beautiful, so well done, and I never met the people, so I don't know because I never knew what they were. But and the culture shock was there, but fortunately, Mr. Mama, when we were in RSM, insisted that all the partners wear suits, tie in those days. I mean, because his word was even if nothing happens, वो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड तो सलूट देगा आपको सूट में. So he said that, and that stuck with me. So even till date, if I walk through anywhere and the security guard salutes, unknown security guard, I remember him, the words he said at that time. So from that point of view, there was no issue. From your confidence levels were good. You had ability in your own ability, what it was. Secondly, one thing I didn't realize the power I had, because in Anderson, they never marketed. They wouldn't go to clients.
Oh, they expect clients to come to them.
I mean, because the brand was
Brand
so
was too big.
powerful, it was just attracting the work. And here was me who was used to going to
Hunting the
clients.
market.
So going to clients, and to such an extent that people are saying, yeah, how do you do it? So they started getting friendly with me because they found I started winning work. I started going to clients, meeting them. And when you were sold a non-brand and you sell a brand, there's a big difference. So the entry became very easy. The moment you say you're so and so from Andersen, they would give you a time. So fortunately, I got that. So in the beginning, yes, it was a culture shock. I never used a laptop. And so used to have a secretary who used to do all the typing and all. So I had to learn it. So the head of IT, the lady was there. She was very friendly in the sense that she said, don't worry. After office, I will train you. And it'll take 10 lessons or 20 you learn. So fortunately, I'm grateful to her that she taught me how the basics, how to use the laptop. And so those were cultural shocks. Then the way people dressed, all those Italian ties,
Yeah.
and
That's what we heard when we were doing our internship. That look at people from Arthur Andersen, they were a different league.
the way they dress and everything. So it's a bunch of smart people. And uh, okay, I'll just give you one incident. So there was this one girl who was working there who went and joined. She joined media. Then she became an anchor and doing a lot of stories on the business side. So she didn't do a CA. She just left it. I knew she wouldn't because she was pretty classy and very good personality and all that. So one day she met me after she left the firm. I was at Goa at a training, and she also had come there for a personal holiday. And said, "I want to talk to you. So whenever you're free." She said, I wanted to tell you this a long time. Saying when you first came in, people are saying, Pata nahi, ye chota se firm se aaya hai. What will he do, And saying in 6 months, the way the people galvanized them behind you, it was an amazing turnaround. The same people had so much respect for you. So I think respect, in my view, is very important. And people are listening to this, we have to earn our respect. And it comes from the work we do. And so today I say titles are given, respect is earned. So I think that was a big learning for me. And I have the people just rallied behind, and we did. So that was.
And then after that, KPMG happened, and within I think so 8-9 years, you became the CEO. So just for everyone's learning, how did you become a CEO within 8 years? I mean, is it key strategic steps you made? Is it what things right you did? Because at the end of the day, you have one CEO only, and there's so many partners. So what are the right moves you did, which really helped you to reach that stage?
So I'll take a little back. So after Andersen, we merged into Ernst& Young. And my first entrepreneur journey was at Ratan Mama, RSM, where I built the Delhi office from scratch. I think my second entrepreneurial journey was in EY, where we converted a completely loss-making practice in 1 year into a profit-making practice. And I remember one of the guys who's today heading one of the service lines, he's still a partner there, was saying that when you joined us, we had a very horrible practice, no fees, bad clients. In 1 year, the amazing turnaround this
So
practice
EY
has
has
done.
seen those days also where they
Yes,
were
yeah, we have gone through.
they've gone through
Yes, they
that
have gone through that,
to
and then
becoming
of
the
course,
top practice in
and now
India.
they're the number one practice in the country, and it's a great place. So EY, I left because somehow I didn't find our values to be aligned. My personal values, for me, values are very important, were not aligned, and I said, which firm should we go to? And then I thought the only firm could be KPMG. I looked at that as a firm with very high values, high the way they treat people and everything. So I've heard so many stories, but it was not in that big league. It was not in that.
Actually, at that time it was not.
No, it was not.
Oh,
It was the partners are not earning well, the employees are not earning, but it was like a happy place where people seemed to be quite content with what they were doing. So when I joined here, uh, the people who were hiring me, including the global chairman of KPMG, he said, we need the Andersen blood.
that
We need,
aggression.
yeah, that aggression which you all have, which is missing in KPMG. Would love if you can come. And so I joined, and so I didn't know what my salary was, and I didn't ask. But I said, I know y'all don't pay well, but I want to be the highest paid partner in India firm. If whatever is there, you can do it. They kept their word. They did it. And so I remember my CEO called me and said, when I got my first comp, so how are you feeling happy with your rating and your comp? I told him, I said, his name was Ian Gomes. So I said, Ian, happiness is a state of mind. And I'm happy wherever I am. But we will change the situation. We will change this. In 1 year, we'll change it. True to what I said, in 1 year, KPMG became very highly profitable.
Yeah, and I remember your term KPMG has also really expanded
Yes.
their practice
Yes.
and they grew a lot.
So even this time, what we did was we brought work which they'd never seen before, because they thought when I joined and I made a presentation to them that we'll do work in UK, we'll do work in Middle East, we'll do work in Africa. They were thinking don't know what this guy is talking.
क्या सोचा?
Actually, they told me afterwards, we thought you were just bullshitting your way through and coming. And suddenly they saw we were working in UK, we were working in Middle East. In fact, Middle East, we were making a lot of money in Africa. So a state came where the profitability of the firm jumped manyfold. 1 year, that's what I'm saying, 1 year, 18 months, you can change a firm's fortunes. And then we started growing at 40%, 50%.
Wow, at that base.
And on that base for a continuous period of 3 years. So we were on a high, actually, if you ask me. It's like somebody's on a very different trajectory, winning work, going to clients, losing some, winning some. And, but I'll tell you, it was the mixture of Ratan Mama and Andersen, which built me. Because Andersen made me think big. They made me think you can charge clients good fees, and clients will pay if you give value. So we moved from an outcome base. So what is this? So every time I would go to a client, we would say, what is a new thing we want to give the client? Can we give him something very different, which they have not seen before? So that was our aim. So audit committees, boards used to wait for us to come to say, what are these guys going to tell us, including the promoter?
So that was a big value add.
Yeah, that was a huge value add. And of course, we showed our own aggression. I remember once, this was, of course, I'm going back a little back and forth. We will go in this conversation, was at Andersen, where our competing firm had come and pitched for an audit. And then when we went to pitch, I remember the client said, well, how's your fee so high? And the other firm is not. I said, maybe they're better than us. You think if they're better than you, then why are you charging more? I said, the people around this table make the difference. All the people are sitting here. They don't have these people. And that's where you give difference. He came back and gave the work. I think it's also for youngsters going there, it's a confidence you have, your ability to say no, not going and compromising on your fees is very, very important. Today's time, I don't know what would have
It's
happened.
changed a lot, I think
It's
so.
changed a lot. Huge amount is changed
I mean,
because,
people are taking work at ridiculous rates
yeah,
just for the.
just to keep the lights on in
Yeah,
the
I
office.
mean, that's what I'm when I'm hearing you, I'm like comparing with today's time. It's very different.
So we walked away from many engagements. We did not take it. And we still survived in those days. And we
Survived
did
and
well.
thrived, I would
Yeah,
say.
we did very well, profitably and all that. Because in Andersen, it was not turnover which mattered, it was profitability. For us, the main benchmark was how much profit can you do to pay good bonuses to your employees and to pay partners well. So Andersen had a very different model. So a partner's comp was linked to the senior manager's comp. So if senior manager got a 50% hike, a partner got a 50% hike.
Acha, okay.
So, and if senior manager got 20%, partner got 20%.
So
So
everything
they
was
kept it market related. So you can't take money yourself. So it was not a partner driven firm, but it was looked at all the employees. And I was just thinking back and saying, in Andersen, they not only looked after their high performers, but everybody across the firm. Everybody was given a chance, an opportunity to do
to
well,
perform.
to perform. They created the environment. Now it's up to you. There will be
Yeah,
few who didn't perform,
correct.
but they gave you that opportunity. So I think if you can see also how in different firms now, post the Andersen collapse, a lot of leadership has come out of Andersen in various
In
firms
various
across the
firms,
world.
correct.
Across the world.
Maybe that whole culture, the way they imbibed
Yeah.
and the learnings was
Yeah.
such
Was
that.
very good. Yeah.
Let's move back. I will not say back. Let's move to a tougher time, maybe in KPMG days, 2016. A lot of partners left KPMG. What happened? I mean,
So
what's that story?
before that, actually, I didn't answer your question about the CEO. So let me get to that because I said I'll come to it. Let me just, if you, I never planned any career for myself. When I joined KPMG, I came as a normal partner. 15 days before I was joining, they called me, said, "Can you be the head of internal audit?" 5 days before I joined, they said, "Can you also look after a technology practice?" I don't understand the T of technology. Saying it's a management role, you look after internal audit and technology. So I came in. There was a great reluctance in the firm. Ki, who's this guy who's come from outside? And there was a lot of non-cooperation, I would say, in the beginning, not listening to budgets I gave, challenging it, saying you don't understand the business, etc. Then, obviously, because one had been in the market, and Andersen and EY, I understood the market. So we went there, we won some very big jobs for KPMG. Over a period of time, things happened. And I never ever dreamt to be CEO. I had opportunity, I'll tell you when. A new leader had come from the global who was looking after India. And he said, all this three-man leadership team doesn't work. We want to have one CEO. This was in 2009.
Oh, usse pehle there were like three.
There were three. So there was my CEO, myself, the coup, and there was another person from markets. We were a three-man leadership team. So we three used to meet to decide the firms. So besides whatever, so this was the CEO's office, you may call, or whatever. Because that was the KPMG model at that time. Very dysfunctional model, not at all. That's why the firm was where it was. So I had a very good relationship at that time with the CEO. Very, very good relationship with him, the India CEO, the new Russell, that is. And so he asked me that, would you like to stand for the CEO? That's the first time the thought ever came to me. And I said, no, I don't want to stand because this guy is a CEO and he's never allowed to function as a CEO. So I would rather that he functions. He takes CEO, I'll step down. And I remember the John Harrison saying at that time that not many people in KPMG would do that. They would pitch for the job. So I said no. And so Russell got selected, elected, whatever you may say, unopposed. So he was the only candidate. Then relationships, whatever, how things, life moves on. And just before, maybe 3 to 5 months before I became CEO, I had gone to my boss, who was a global vice chairman, my super boss, I would call. My boss is the CEO. My super boss, and I told him, I'm tired. I want to quit the firm. This was 5 months before. I said, I'm not in a happy position. I'm not getting along. Things are not moving. And why be unhappy in a situation? He said, if I was you, I would not do this. And he's saying, you're not aware in the KPMG global world what people think about you. So it's very difficult to build that reputation in another firm if you go.
Starting from scratch then.
Yeah,
Again.
yeah, starting from scratch. So he said, have patience. He was saying something which I didn't know. I was not aware at that time. 1 month later, he comes. He said, we put a full new governance structure for the India, and we're going to have elections. We're going to elect the first India CEO.
So that was the first time elections happened
Yeah,
for
first
a CEO.
time. Yeah. So we're going to do it, and it's going to be secret ballot, and these are all this thing and all, and how you'll do it. The whole process was explained. The governance model was put in, and then I was thinking whether I should stand. So the few of my team members, we went into a huddle for 2-3 days to understand, can I even win? Because people have to vote for you now. And I came to the conclusion I can win. There's a chance. And
But do you go meeting partners and
no,
do you do
no,
that?
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you. So
I'm just trying to think of
no,
elections.
no, yeah, but that's the way it is. So they allowed us to campaign, but at 10 partners at a time. So you take them in a room, give you a vision, and go. I never once asked a single partner for a vote. Never. Because it's a secret ballot. I'll
You will
ask
never
you,
know
you'll say,
anyways. Yeah, you'll
yeah,
say yes. Nahi
yeah.
kiya to.
So why ask at all? So then finally we sat and said, okay, what's the best chances? It was coming to good percentage, medium so much. Worst case, I was still getting 51%. And then I said, I'm going to put my hat in the ring. So I put my hat in the ring, and I remember the global vice chairman of the firm at that time called me, and it was our elections was on Sunday. On Friday, he called me and he asked me, how's it going? I said, yeah, it's tough. It's going. He said, so what are your chances? I said, I don't know. It's a secret ballot. I can't say. But I'm going in with the hope that maybe. So then he said, if you lose, have you thought about it? I said, I'll resign and go away. I'll leave the firm
But that's
because.
very common, right? If you lose, this is what I'm seeing in Big Four, right? If you lose, then you just move out of the firm.
Yeah, so I told him. So he said, no, you're not leaving the firm. I've got a job for you at KPMG London.
Acha.
And that job only you can do, because we have observed you from here at the global level, and we feel you got a skill which nobody in KPMG has. That was of uniting the firm together, all of KPMG practices, bringing them together. And how do you get the best talent to the best clients? That was the role. He didn't tell me, but I realized later. And so elections happened on Sunday, and then I won, fortunately. So so that was a happy moment at that time to rebuild the firm.
And then which year?
That was 2012.
12.
Yeah. So
What happened in 2016 then?
So 2016 was, you see, the right from last few years or many years, there was this guy who used to work with me, where he's today now the CEO of Deloitte. He used to work with me very closely, and we're very close. And somewhere, I think in his mind, he felt I was ignoring him, which was not true. Because today, I think I want to say it on camera, which I've never said before. When we at India, KPMG globally was doing a succession planning, and Corn Ferry was given that job, and I had named him as my successor in KPMG. But he had different views about what I was doing. Maybe others were feeding him with poison or whatever. I don't know what happened, but he felt he was not being treated, and so he decided to move on and get it. So he was a very critical member of my team, very close to me at that time, and his career graph was good. He was very good in his work. And then he decided to move on, and obviously there were others who aided and abetted him and got him to go to global, say certain things or whatever. And the card just changed. And but actually all of it happened in such a fast time. Like the guy who was looking after India at that time was American. He came down, sat and met this team, and then formed his own opinion. And then he told me, they have said this. So I said, I remember I'm telling him, okay, 8 people met you, but it was the same script. It was one person talking, not 8 people talking. So I think he said, no, it's anyway. That was his view. And so he was there for 2 days, and then he went back. And he said, let's try to restructure the firm. Like in the US, what they have is the CEOs, while they're called the CEO, they're actually chairmen.
Okay.
So they run the firm, strategy, growth, everything. And the day-to-day operations of this thing is run by the coup, by the deputy CEO.
Acha, okay.
In US.
In US. Maybe huge country, that's why.
Yeah, huge country. So all the head of audit, head of service lines
Will
report to him. So I think we can look at a model like this for India also. That's what he
So
said.
that was not okay for you?
I didn't actually, everything like happened so fast, so I was not. So I was thinking, should he go into this model or not? And there was not enough discussion also happened. So he left. The next morning I came into office. Normally I come into office at 7:30, so I was there alone in my office. I decided I want to quit. And so I called up my mentor.
But it's such a large firm, let's say, whatever number of partners are there, it's a small ratio. It's such a small ratio could trouble you. Let's say you want to quit your term and you want to.
I lost confidence in the team, in my team. I'm not getting the whole thing, but a lot of people. So I didn't know who to trust and not trust. And I was wondering, so either I asked them all to go and go. I could have asked, as per our governance, asked for a vote to ask the partners to come and vote. And I would have still won it. I was very clear about it. There was no way because the confidence levels which were there. But I thought maybe now it's you take moral responsibility and move on. So then that bunch of 10, 12 or 8 to 10 partners, because there was nobody to talk to them, the rest, many partners left then and employees left. So it is a big bunch which went out. So what you see in the press, what you see was the aftermath of that. Not being controlled by people who were running the firm temporarily at that time. And they didn't care because they wanted it. They wanted, in my view, I can say it now, I think they wanted it destroyed for whatever reason. And so I feel, if you're working in a firm, you try to protect your firm, right? And I think they went too long with that person in negotiating with him to stay back and all that. So like my coach said that once something becomes toxic, it's better to get it out of the firm, which they did not do. So there were people inside the firm who were spreading rumors saying the practice is going to close down. So many people just joined because of that.
That's a big learning as well, that, if this forms in any size of a firm.
No, I remember at that time, I told this guy, I said, listen, just give me this firm, I'll clean it up. I mean, I'll get it back on track and we'll get it because now it's, you got to fight for your firm, right? There are different views.
But you completed your term, then you got re-elected but then you again, after re-election, then you left. So what happened then that after re-election, beginning of your term, once great,
so we
you got re-elected,
re-election,
right?
We got re-elected because what happened, the global vice chairman came to me and he said that, see, we are depending a lot on India and we want to know what is your views. Would you like to stand for re-election? I said, I want to think about it. So he said, if you're not standing, then we will have to take a different view on India. So then I thought maybe let's continue with whatever success we have got. Because fortunately, the firm was doing well. All the partners were very well paid. Profitability was high. Growth was, we more than doubled our practice, doubled the number of partners.
Because and that time, how many people were there in KPMG that time?
I think we were 10,000 people. Yeah. 10,000 people. When I started, we were 150 partners. We became 300 plus partners. And they were all earning 30-40% more every year on year, kind of. So it was, big growth in what earnings they were getting. And the one thing I promised myself was there will be no partner cuts, comp cuts. And I kept it as long as I was there. And and we didn't take any money from global.
You didn't take any money. So it was all money earned
in India made from India, worked from our sweat and blood. That's the time we got big time into government practice. We hired a team from Accenture. We went in. And that created, the government practice. Maybe it didn't make too much money, honestly, though the head of government will have a different view. But he says it to me, challenges me every time I say that statement. But we earned a lot of brand and market positioning because it was like a blowfish. So multinational clients used to come and tell me, oh, you're number one in India. I said, I'm not. Saying you're being humble. I said, no. It's a fact. We are not the number one. But that was the impression
Impression
created
created.
because we were doing all state governments. We were doing a lot of new ideas which government launched. It came from our team. So we were involved in a lot of those things also.
And why did you again, let's say, left 10 months or 11 months down the
Because the
line?
incident happened then, right?
That's the time when the
The
incident
incident
happened.
happened, yeah. So we did the election in maybe February or January of that year. And then this incident happened. And then March, I quit the
Then you
firm.
just quit the
Yeah.
firm.
March 2017 is when I
And then
left.
you again went to KPMG UAE, right?
So I was in a non-compete period. So the chairman and CEO of KPMG Dubai called me and said, "Why don't you come on my board?" And I said, "Okay, non-compete. I can't do anything, so I'll go on his board." And when I reached Dubai, the first meeting, board meeting, we were there. At the board, somebody proposed that why don't you become the CEO of KPMG Dubai? This guy is retiring in 6 months, so you come as CEO designate and then you become CEO. So I spoke to that CEO and I told him, but this is not what the deal was. The deal was a non-executive director, independent director on your board. So 2 days later, I get a call from the global chairman saying that this offer was made and you rejected it. So suppose I tell you that you become the CEO of the whole of Middle East, bring all the practices together, and you have a fixed term contract, 3 to 5 years. You're not a partner that way because you're not in a partner of any of these
Correct.
firms. It's like a professional position.
Correct.
You run the firm, bring the whole firm together. Everybody trusts you in the Middle East. So it'll be a good way you can create the succession plan. So that's how, so I didn't take it because I just thought I didn't want to get into, I don't know whether I was capable of putting this whole thing together, pull different practices, different people, different
In a
personalities.
different jurisdiction also.
Absolutely, yeah,
Considering
different jury. I
different
didn't even
culture,
different culture. That was also which was
Yeah.
worrying me
Yeah.
actually. Can I do the same success what was India? So I rejected it, and then I continued on the Middle East on the Dubai board, and that's where we.
During this whole time, did you have turn to people who were your support, whom you actually consulted, or it was just your thought process, professionally,
This
non-professionally?
so I'll tell you all my decisions: leaving Ratanas Mama and Company, joining Anderson, leaving EY, joining KPMG were all my decisions. And they were taken in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes.
Quick
So I'm a
decision.
gut player.
Gut player.
Absolutely. I work with my gut. My gut tells me something and just go and do it. So I never consulted anybody because you'd get different views. And I didn't want to, I didn't want to
Confuse
move from,
yourself.
yeah, because I thought I did myself a great service by resigning. Because in my eyes, I went up because that's the time I really tested that money was not important to me. And I didn't know what I was going to do after that. But I think there's a God up, there's a karma. And it was like I got a 5 year extension as a partner because the compensation I got was more than a partner's compensation at Dubai. So the journey continued with with KPMG.
And with KPMG.
Yeah, which is a firm which I love and I still love.
You've said, I was reading somewhere that it's very lonely on the top, and I think so. These comments are very common that people who are right on the top do say that once you're at the
Yeah.
top, it's very lonely. What do you mean by that right now?
So when you are at that position, there is nobody you can talk to. There is
Can't
nobody.
talk to competition for sure.
You cannot talk to anybody in your own organization because are you going to give away something which you don't
Correct, you
want
don't
to?
want to give.
So I think every CEO needs a coach. This is my view. Somebody he can talk with, somebody he can consult, somebody he can bounce off ideas. Because the ideas he may be putting may not be right. And because I did not have a coach in the early period, I think maybe that I suffered from that. I got the coach towards the end. And the coach was really good for me and then I got my entire team coached by her.
Oh,
She was from US and she was an American, very tough lady, no nonsense. She has even coached our global chairman.
Acha,
And a lot of KPMG US partners have been coached by her. So she knew the firm.
She knew the firm.
She knew what ticked and everything else.
But during this whole episode, how did it ever go out to clients, or did it the staff, non-partners came to know, and how were the reaction during that time, or you just kept the staff and clients away from the whole, which is very tough, but
See, clients could read everything.
Could read everything.
So I remember I went to one client, I can even name him, not a client, but somebody we were pitching to, Mr. Bicky Oberoi. He's no more now, God bless his soul. He said, "Yaar, koi itna jaldi retire kaun hota hai?" He asked me, because it was in the newspapers, I just went to say hello to him. But what really surprised me was, after all this happened and after the press went quite brutal because somebody went and disclosed things to them, the first thing I did, I never read the press at all. I didn't read a single article because I didn't want to become reactive, right? And so people read it, whoever read it, but the respect never came down from the corporate world, at least I can say. Respect from the people have not come down. Even today, when we talk, people say we miss those days. They still say that was the golden days of KPMG. They still say it.
Hi, Richard was not just my first boss at Andersen. He was someone who set the gold standards for what true leadership really means. Warm, caring, and highly empathetic, Richard always placed people at the heart of the business. He fostered an environment where everybody felt valued and empowered, making work not just about targets, but about growth and happiness. What stood about Richard leadership was his commitment to integrity and fairness. He led by example, consistently demonstrating that respect is always earned through one's actions. Even in tough times, he handled challenges with resilience and made decisions rooted in values, not just what was convenient to him. He encouraged us to think big, strive for excellence, and always innovate. His legacy is not just in results he achieved, but in the leaders he has built and the positive culture he created within the organization. Friends, for me, Richard Rekhy will always be the benchmark of compassionate and visionary leadership. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kalpana. I've worked with Richard since 2004. He's been a mentor and a guide to me for a long time and still continues to be. If there's one thing I would love to emulate Richard, it would be his capability to work with a diverse set of people and bring out the best in them and achieve what some would call the impossible.
And this is not me saying it. These people, when they meet me, they don't need to talk to me now, right? I'm off now. I've got no reason that I can influence anything for them. And so it was, I don't think the clients, they might have read it, whatever, they took out of it, but personal integrity, personal respect. In fact, one person came up and said, you have gone up in everybody's eyes so high by what you did. It was a brilliant decision of yours, of quitting. So I quit on my terms. And the evidence is that the global chairman offered me a CEO position post that in KPMG. Yeah, which somebody said, you should have taken it. I said, no. I don't take something I don't need to prove who I am. I know who I am.
But one big lesson, I would say, what you learned during this whole period, which you maybe learned yourself, because obviously when you go through these ups and downs, you learn something.
Never in your life, this is advice I'll give everybody, ever get anybody into your leadership who has been your detractor. And that's the mistake I made.
But how would you know?
You can make out how they behave, right? In the pre-run to the election, who they were supporting. Never get them. Because they're always looking to
eventually
hurt you. And the second one, a good friend of mine told me that when you build your team, build loyalists. Because the loyalists will stand beside you when the times are down. So I don't know how good that advice is. But if I was there, I would say first 6 months, in your gun, you have real bullets. Use it. After that, they become rubber bullets. And it'll be of no use. So whatever you want to do it in the first 6 months. I mean, in the sense, take all those tough decisions. And I did not do that. I kept the team because I thought, okay, continuity, isko karo. But I paid the price for it. Secondly, I was not bothered what people were doing behind my back. Many people have that cover and, all that. So it didn't bother me. You say what you want, you do what you want. Life, go on. Life goes on. And if I also am a very strong believer in destiny, and I believe what is destined for you is going to happen. And I also believe in the law of karma. So you don't need to go and judge people. So Even all these people, I have no hatred for anybody.
And you've kept your
I've
sanity and you've kept your.
So I'm happy. I'm in a happy place. Okay, whatever happened, happened. But like I said, I did not lose. In fact, I made more friends because when I was in that period, post that, a lot of competition, a lot of people I met, and people were very open in their conversations and, whatever. So it was for me also a good period.
I mean, let's shift gears now. For the younger chartered accountants who really look up to you. I mean, today there's a big debate. Big four versus non-big four. Where should we work? And I've seen somewhere you've written that see what you're getting rather than seeing the brand. I mean, see the job profile or something. What would you say? I mean, in today's time, I think so. People still, what my limited understanding is, still look for that bigger brand rather than the role, because that bigger brand they think is a big cover for them as going forward. जैसे बोलते हैं ना CV में big four हो तो CV अच्छी हो जाती है. So what's your view in the whole entire thing?
I think the first thing is you should have confidence in yourself as a professional. And if you join a big four, there is a lot of learning. So let's not deny that. And there's a way to do work, but there's also a downside. You become very siloed. So if you're doing tax, it's not you're doing tax, you're doing either transfer pricing, M&A. So you're doing a very small portion. And you can never become a good leader because that's what you've been trained with. So when you get larger leadership roles, you become a failure. I would say people, and I still hold the view, even today's time, people should work rather on the role than on the compensation or on the brand, because that learned individual will make money for you. After that person gets trained, I'm talking yourself, you get trained, you can make a lot of money. You can make, money is not success, but you can be much more well off than what you are. So I would encourage youngsters to more look at the role, look at organization they work with, and also work with people whom you like. Because if your bosses are good, and if the people who's going to mold your career spend a lot of time with you, building your career, building your character, I think I would choose that. Even today, I would leave that as a thing.
There's also a big debate these days. If you see in the paper, Big Four, Indian Big Fours, the government is trying to put a lot of focus from their side. But do you think there's a reality to it? Because we have the Big Fours, Big Six, if I were to say today, who are really big, and then there are the Indian firms who are nowhere near in terms of the scale, the talent pool, the technology in today's world. Do you think it's a possibility, or it's just still a lot in the air that yes, that we are seeing Indian big fours, but that yes, that it, because China has done it quite well, to be honest. That China, they, if you see the Chinese firms, the difference between a big four and non big four is not that much. Globally there may be, but in China we see a very small gap. But in India, I think so we see a huge gap, and the gap is so huge, and in between that gap there's no one.
So I would. I think I was going to say that, but good you took it out of the of my mouth. I think we should follow the Chinese model. But for the Indian chartered accountants or running their own practices with their family name, they should not have an ego of giving it up for a larger brand. Do you want to be a king in a small pond, or do you want to be a person in an ocean, which is much bigger? Which also brings continuity and a lot of things. So all the points you raise, first we need to change our regulations. Our regulations do not permit an Indian Big Four coming up. A large Indian firm which can go global is not. Number two, the government will have to bring a lot of support for these firms, because ultimately the Big Four is using Indian talent.
Correct.
There's not some foreign
It's
talent.
not some foreigner who's working out
so
here.
it's the same chartered accountant who comes out. It's there and here. So I think it can be formed. But there needs to be a mission, there needs to be energy behind it, and regulations first need to get changed. Then the firms need to come together. And I dare say, one way could be that you bring some really, top-notch Indian business people, or people who are in the society who have made their name, who could become like the chairman and advisory board to this organization. So people will respect that position. So there is, And we should move to a constellation culture, not hierarchy. So there is no one boss. So constellation will work. Firms should come together, bury their egos, get some funding in, because funding is very important. How you get the funding, capital you need. How do you bring that capital? Then you put the trainings, put the people through the same processes. I don't know why Indian firms will not work with Indians. There is always the pride of being Indian, pride of doing something.
And it's growing. Like, we're seeing again somehow a world which is getting again inward first, I would
Yes,
say.
yeah.
And it's not just India. We're seeing globally. I mean, the focus is first our country, then let's look at globalization.
Correct. And then we could, and a lot of Indian companies are going global.
Correct.
So you ride the wave with them. So you get them here, as they go global, you also go global.
That's how Big Four became Big Four.
And that's how, and then you should be ready for many acquisitions, not only in India, but outside India also. Like you were talking that you are trying to set up something in London, Middle East with different. So you are trying to go global. So how do you go global and merge those kind of platforms and make it into one headquartered in India? So this will be an India global firm. Forget about Big Four. Big Four is a nomenclature. They just happen to be the 4 largest firms, right? That's all.
It's become too common a nomenclature.
No, it's a very common. And so it looks like it's a thing, but it's not. Actually, just 4 firms came together and called Big Four. Other industries are not taking it so seriously because you got the Big Four in advertising, got Big Four in headhunting.
Correct.
Everywhere you got a Big Four, but they don't call it Big Four.
They don't call it Big Four, yeah.
But here they somehow call the Big Four. So I think the way I would look at it, they have to invest in new areas. So first they have to bring themselves together, invest in new areas, put a strategy together, get some experienced people to come in, get people who have actually been part of these larger firms into the organization at senior level, at different levels, see how you can compensate them better, and then attract the talent in. It's possible. It's not going to be an easy journey. But in China, just to share with you, if you take the top 10, the Big Four may not come in the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
No. The Chinese firms are there. So in China now we are talking, right? Yeah. So the Big Four may be number 8 and number 9, some of them.
Wow.
Because the Chinese firms are really, but what is the government done? All contracts go to Chinese firms. All the business goes
to Chinese.
PSU go to Chinese firm. Even the government work goes first to the Chinese firm. So you'll have to bring affirmative action, saying that if you're going to be in India Big Four, we are going to now support you. And it should be not one firm. It should be 3, 4 firms,
many
5 firms
also.
Yeah. 6, 7, whatever.
Why I don't know why we say 4 again in the Indian. It could be Indian Big 10 or whatever.
It could be 10 also. It could be 10 firms which could be brought in and, and take it forward. But people have to give up their egos.
But how do you see the profession evolving? See, at one side, we have the audit, tax, consulting practice. And on the other side, in today's world, the AI and the technology is evolving so fast. I mean, before you blink, there is something new. Every week I come up with something new, something better, which was already so good. And the basic work, the repetitive work, I mean, the way we are seeing the evolvement of AI happening, I think so. It's just to say that AI will not affect. I'm sure AI is going to affect big time. How do you see the profession getting evolved? Take practices like accounting, right? Take practices even like audits. You will have bots which will do half the things. How do you see the profession going to evolve into this and grow? And is this also a chance for the smaller firms to go big? I mean, because they are more nimble. They may be more nimble.
So there is a saying which I believe in, the last mover advantage. So if this concept comes in and these firms start looking, so they are looking at the latest technology. They're not gone through the pain of the earlier ones. So they can straight away jump frog. But they need to be ready to jump frog that, leapfrog that whole thing and get onto the new technology. Yes, the new technologies change life completely. I mean, today, as consultants, if we want to go and give advice to a client, the client has ChatGPT, can go and get everything there.
Yeah, they already know about it.
yeah. So can you give something different? Secondly, ChatGPT may not be accurate completely. So how do you actually connect the dots and give solutions? Because what clients are looking for today is solutions, skin in the game, outcome-based answers. So I think if you ask me, if firms are really serious about it, they need to get into it. In fact, the technology will help them reduce their cost, which earlier you needed armies of people to do. Now less people can do it. do the same amount of work and become efficient. You're rewriting the script, so you're starting on a white paper. You don't need to build
Start
these
from
large.
zero. Yeah.
You don't need to build these large organizations. You can do it at maybe 50% of the people, and
And
still,
it's evolving still. I mean, this thing.
yeah, it's still moving on. And I think you need to be always on top of the technology that is coming. You should. There's a saying somebody said. He said that what was science fiction yesterday is reality today. So I would suggest start watching science
Science fiction,
fiction,
yeah.
and then you can be
Correct.
up on the curve.
Correct. So, what would you recommend today as a not? You talked about technical skills and all, but the non-technical skills a partner should have to be successful in today's time.
See, the very good skills which is required is one is executive presence. That's the first thing, because as you walk into a room, does somebody feel somebody's walked in? Makes a lot of difference. People don't feel so, or people don't concentrate on it. But I think that's going to be very, very important. And so one would be executive presence. I would say soft skills, how you present, how you communicate, very, very important. Written and verbal communication, both is very important. Body language, your empathy as a leader, integrity. So these are some qualities which I would say a partner needs to bring. Then also he should be very good in collaboration, in negotiation skills. How do you negotiate with the client? How do you get your point across? And keep it a win-win situation for both.
And it's
So-
as important as technical skills today.
More important. Because technical skills is today given. Generally, you're a chartered accountant, you got
should
some
just
skills.
Some skills.
So now, how do you get on top of that? How do you overlay with all these things? Secondly, you need to also have a lot of passion. Do you have that hunger? Do you have the passion? Do you want to grow it? I mean, part of this growth, when you're asking why they're not growing, I'm not sure there's enough passion, hunger in the firms to grow it, or they're just thrown in the towel. So I think
Yeah, jo chal raha hai, let it go.
yeah, so I think it is not always the results, it's also the process. I think we should believe in the process, that we want to get there. It's going to take time. There are going to be failures along the way. It's not going to be an easy run.
Now you're in GT. Now, why suddenly another role? I mean, is it something that some unfinished business of KPMG and you want to do something here? What's the rationale behind being in a different organization now?
Okay, so actually, after my KPMG contract got over with the Middle East, I thought I will go into my sunset and close off my life. And then this GT opportunity came. We were discussing it for some time, actually. And I thought that I still have the energy, still have a lot to give
Lot of
to the
passion.
profession. And I mean, as good as any other partner in terms of, going meeting clients and bringing it and helping, using all my experience of so many years in trying to help them in areas where maybe they need some support, and also mentoring the partners. So two areas. One is how do you get the partners motivated? Motivate is the wrong word. How to get them up the ladder, and how do you work with the clients who you're going to now pitch for, the large corporates and other things like that. So that's one area, because the one thing I've realized is the larger accounting firms go for the A category companies, and there they like to do audit because of the size and the complexity. But they're open for consulting work. So if you got enough good consulting, you can go into A category companies. So it's not about being in the mid market.
You can still
You can actually go into
to
the top
client
market.
and
Yeah.
offer consulting
If you've
services.
got good skills, anybody will take you. I feel the diffidence which is in consultants needs to go away. So that's another area where I think I can contribute, giving them confidence. You can do it. No problem. You're as good as anybody else. I think this is. So
I mean,
like
today
when we
GT
were
is
in
like, I would
Andersen,
say a category A firm now. Nearly, it's like
Yeah.
nearly at a Big
Yeah.
Four level.
Yeah. So, and we have got the opportunity. We are, because it's confidential at the moment, I can't talk, but we're pitching for some very large audits. So let's see where they go. Ultimately, board has to decide, but we will put our best foot forward.
Starting a career today, if you were to talk to a school child, will you still recommend going through the profession of a CA, or what we are seeing? I mean, this is something which we've seen in US, that in the profession very few people want to enter now. The CPA business and people all want to enter the technology line. So what would your thought process be
For the youngster coming in.
youngster?
So I think there are a lot of options available which were not available during our times. So you could still go and work with these large firms, but in a very niche area. So today we know technology is so pervasive, it's into everything. So you can't say I'm HR, I'm this, so I don't have. Everybody has to know technology.
Yeah.
May not be the expert, but it's not necessary that you become a chartered accountant. Generally, chartered accountant, when you go into audit or tax.
Historically.
Yeah. But if you don't come from that route, you can go as a consultant, which is very different. Because then your grooming, your thinking, will be very different out there.
Few quick questions. What's your biggest professional regret till now?
It's a difficult one. Professional regret.
Over the long journey.
Yeah. So I would say I wish Andersen had lasted longer. So it's not my personal regret, but it was a firm which actually gave so much of highs to all of us. There has never been another firm which has come of that caliber, of that category. So I won't say professional regret, but the one way could be that could I have thought of a different line when I left KPMG India, something different
out of the profession.
Could be out of the profession, because there are many things that one could do. One could take your own personal brand and say, what can you do with it? So that's something which I have not attempted. So that could be one big regret.
Would you rather be a feared boss or loved as a boss? You need both either way these days, but
I don't want to be a feared boss. That is very clear. Loved, I'm not sure, because I would like to do the right thing. So you may become unpopular because you want to do the right thing, but I don't want people to be afraid of me, if I have to answer that.
But when you became a CEO, was it ever a situation where people came to you and they said, Richard, you've changed now that you've become a CEO?
No. No, in fact, the comment given to me even in the election campaign, you asked, right? They're saying you've not changed at all. I mean, even when you're asking us to vote for you, asking means you're doing those campaigns. You're still the same guy, whatever. So I don't think you changed because I'll tell you one thing, very important. I'm not attached to anything. So getting something or losing something is just like a matter of fact to me. So it is not because I remember somebody called me and asked me, what did you feel on the 1st of April after you left KPMG? Did you feel anything? I said, no, I didn't feel anything. They saying, how? I said, because I was not attached to it. So I'm not here looking for...
That's a great quality to have.
Yeah, actually. And you just move on. Because what is the reality of life will give you... Life may give nothing to you also. But that's the way you go.
Worst business advice you've ever received?
Worst business, maybe acquisition of some of the teams we did at KPMG, where headhunters came and put some teams in front of which were complete flops. And as a leader, one could have taken calls that you cut the losses quickly, which you didn't do. So stayed with it, actually. Most
ridiculous thing clients have ever asked you?
Ridiculous? There were clients have asked us somewhere, I can't name it, but client has asked to do something which was not, in my view, appropriate. And I refused it. And later on, life proved it was right, because not taking on that particular assignment, quite ridiculous assignments of certifying some kind of things which didn't have any basis at that time. And those cases went to Supreme Court. And, so I don't know where KPMG would have been if we had taken it, because they were putting a lot of money on the table.
One industry practice you hate?
Industry practice?
Our industry practice. Professional services industry.
You hate?
Or you wish it was not there as a practice?
Like a service line? Or?
No, as a profession.
So I would say if you ask me, this whole system where we compensate people very strongly on performance, that can breed wrong practices, people hiding things. So I wish there were, there was no bell curves. There was no 360. And I think there should have been there should be, the way a person is compensated should be on team goals first and not on individual goals, not to build individual bad behavior. It builds individual ultimately. Because we are saying we want to rate the high performers. That doesn't work in for a team. Team wins. There's no superstar.
And what's next for you?
So I'm going to be a
Professionally, personally, both.
So one big thing which I had for myself was, how do you touch a billion lives? This has always been in my mind. So I'm still trying to work and trying to get an answer. How do you, using technology, going into something, how do we actually go and build a billion lives, touch a billion lives? And so that is very much at the back of my head. But at the moment, I'm with GT trying to help them on their journey. It's taking up a lot of my time. And I'm enjoying it, actually, very much enjoying it.
See, you've lived up to lots of ups and downs. I mean, right from starting, you had Andersen, then the whole Andersen thing happened, KPMG thing happened. Looking back at the whole thing, I mean, the last question, this is my last question. Looking back, what would you tell the biggest learnings you've had in the whole journey to, let's say, a younger person who will maybe endure a similar type of journey? And you have lots of ups, but you also have lots of downs, and that's bound to happen in a long journey. What would you like to, as a last message, give to these people?
I would just tell the youngster, go live your dream. Life is tough. It's going to throw a lot of bricks at you. Take it in its stride. You want the good things, you might as well take the bad things. So you can't say that I want a life. So if you say a wish is, okay, there should be no downsides, it shouldn't be upside, but then what's the fun of it? I think you need to enjoy the life. So it is like somebody said, that the waves go up and down. Life is also go up and down. I think one should be able to take the downs in its stride. In fact, in my case, my failures have been more than my successes, but I think I became stronger each time. And each time you became stronger, you became a better person, a better human being. And the one other advice I will leave, which is something I learned from a young girl I was interviewing many years back, the 5-ball theory. The 5 balls is, you've got work, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got spirituality, and you got health, wellness. 4 of these balls are glass balls, and one of them is a rubber ball. The job is a rubber ball, and the other 4 are glass balls. If they fall, they break. And many of us don't focus. We focus on the job, and which is a rubber ball, which will bounce back. You can go and get another job anytime. You can't get another family. You can't get another friend. Your health cannot come back. Or it can come back, and then of course spirituality. So I think we should balance our life between these, juggle these 5 balls in our life. So for the youngster watching, make sure that you juggle your life, lead the full life as a human being, than just,
Absolutely pleasure interacting with you, Richard. Really, really nice to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suraj. Thank you very much.